So, hi everyone, welcome to another meeting and another podcast episode. If you are watching on YouTube or listening on the podcast, you can find out more about these meetings, our online community, paid private mentoring with myself if it interests you on the website. It's www.acimwithkeith.com. Okay, so let's get on with today. And we'll see how today goes, because I don't really have an enormous plan for it. But I really would like to zoom into what A Course in Miracles is all about, which is we could say it's about awakening, because that's the Course's stated objective. Know thyself, the real you, not the one you think you are. But the means of that is forgiveness. So the means of knowing who you are, the means of awakening from the dream of death, the means of awakening from your self concept, which is your bondage, is forgiveness. And that's what A Course in Miracles is all about. So let's just remind ourselves what the Course says about forgiveness. So, forgiveness is still, and it quietly does nothing. It does nothing. It offends no aspect of reality, nor does it seek to twist it to appearances it likes. It has no agenda. It's not trying to turn one emotion into another emotion. It's not trying to get rid of an emotion. It's not pushing and pulling on thoughts. It has no agenda. It isn't trying to fix something or change something or reject something or grasp at something different. Forgiveness is still and it quietly does nothing. It offends no aspect of reality, nor does it seek to twist it to appearances it likes. It merely looks and waits and judges not. I really want to focus in on that middle part. It offends no aspect of reality, nor does it seek to twist it to appearances it likes. Because this is very hard for course students to hear. It's very hard for course students to hear. I say it all the time. And yet, over and over again, I know people are trying to meet their demons, but I know they're all bunched up against it and they're like, what do I do? How do I fix it? What do I do about this awfulness? And that's not forgiveness. It's not forgiveness. We all have to face the demon. We all have to face the trauma. We have to do it without an agenda. It has to be without an agenda. If there's even the slightest agenda that says, I don't like this, I don't want this, this shouldn't be here, how do I get rid of it? It's not forgiveness. It's not. So regularly, all the time in the group, someone will say to me, but how long do I have to do this forgiveness for? I've been doing it for ages, and this is still here, and it's terrible. And when is it going to be gone? And that's not forgiveness. It's not forgiveness. It's an agenda. The Course tells us the ego is the call to war. It's the war with emotions. It's the war with experience. It's the war with thoughts. It's the war with sensations. It's the war with the ego. The ego is at war with everything. Everything. The ego is war. The ego is the rejection of reality. It's war. It's attack. And spirit, and you are spirit. Spirit cannot be at war. It's not that it isn't at war. It can't be at war. It can't attack. Cannot reject. Not that it doesn't, it can't. I quote it all the time, but the Course says, you've been asked not to judge. This is not to take a right off you. You cannot judge. You can only believe the ego's judgments, all of which are false. You can only believe thoughts, all of which are false. They're not your thoughts. Those judgment thoughts, those war thoughts, those fixing thoughts, those pushing and pulling thoughts, they don't have an owner. They are ownerless thoughts and meaningless thoughts. There's no problem with them unless you think you own them. You cannot judge. You cannot be at war. You cannot reject. You can only believe thoughts, claim ownership of them, and enter into a dream, a delusion, that you can be at war with thoughts and emotions and sensations in the world, but you can't. It's not in your nature. You can't. You can only be deluded about what you are when you identify with thoughts. Thoughts are not the problem if you know they are ownerless. Because you can't declare war on thoughts and know what you are. But you can see that they're ownerless. You can see they arise all by themselves. That you can see. And that's all that's required. It doesn't matter if there's 1,000 thoughts in there or none. It doesn't matter if you know they're not you. It doesn't matter. No need for war. So in chapter 11, section 5, paragraph 13, the ego analyzes. This is good, this is bad. I like this emotion, I don't like that emotion. This emotion should be here, this emotion shouldn't be here. If I was holier, this emotion wouldn't be here. There would be a different emotion here. That's the ego. The ego analyzes, the Holy Spirit accepts. The Holy Spirit doesn't have a story about the thoughts and emotions that are here. Spirit can only accept. Spirit can't analyze the good and the bad, the right and the wrong, the emotion I should have and the emotion I shouldn't have. Spirit can't do that. Only the ego does that. The ego analyzes, the Holy Spirit accepts. The appreciation of wholeness comes only through acceptance. For to analyze means to break down or to separate out. There is just one light of awareness here, appearing as the world, showing up as this moment, and it's still itself. The forms, the broken pieces seem to take me nothing, for the whole is in each one, and every aspect is just the same as every other part. Everywhere you look is awareness. In the Course's vernacular, everywhere you look is mind. The mind in which this dream is arising and dissolving in every moment is the only truth of everything that's here. That's what's here. There are not some bits that are awareness and some bits that aren't. It's all equally awareness. Awareness is the truth of everything and everyone. That's what's here. Only the thoughts you're projecting out onto the world are veiling that. The appreciation of wholeness comes only through acceptance, not war, not fixing, not judging, not calling one thing good and another thing bad. That's the dream of judgment. That's what the ego does. The good bits and the bad bits, the bits I like and the bits I don't, the bits that should be happening and the bits that shouldn't be happening. That's the ego. Spirit accepts the whole thing. And in that acceptance, absence of judgment, Spirit knows its wholeness. But if there is one step towards judgment, wholeness is lost. If there is one war with any element of experience, wholeness is veiled. It's still there. It's the only truth that's here, but it's veiled. It's veiled by judgment. It's veiled by the ego's analysis. People should do this and they shouldn't do that, and that's not right, and this is be better this way. Wholeness is veiled by that, by judgment. Appreciation of wholeness comes only through acceptance. For to analyze means to break down or to separate out. This bit is different than this bit. But it's not. That's just thoughts. That's projection. It's not here in the real world. So let's just cross that over. The appreciation of wholeness comes only through acceptance. Forgiveness is still, and it quietly does nothing. It offends no aspect of reality, no thoughts, no emotions, no sensations, no world events. Forgiveness is still, and it quietly does nothing. It offends no aspect of reality, nor does it seek to twist it to appearances it likes. The appreciation of wholeness comes only through acceptance, not twisting things to appearances your ego likes. If we are to accept the invitation the Course gives us to awaken, we have to understand that forgiveness is acceptance, not war, not seeking to twist things to appearances the analyzing ego wants, because that will keep you asleep. Always the ego will tell you something has to change for there to be healing and awakening. That's the lie. That's seeking to twist things to appearances the analyzing ego wants. That's the lie. That's the trap. That's the trap you're going to have to take yourself out of over and over and over and over and over again. It's the ego that's telling you that you have to change this emotion to wake up. That you need to change this trauma in order to wake up. That you need to change these life circumstances to wake up. That healing will be here when these emotions are gone. When you've fought them. When you've analyzed them. When you've turned them into something different. When you've got rid of them. This is the voice of the ego. This is why nothing heals. Because the ego is analyzing experience and trying to twist it to appearances it likes. And that is judgment. That is grievance. That is the ego. So lesson 268. What can frighten me when I let all things be exactly as they are? Let not our sight be blasphemous today. It's blasphemous if it's analyzing. It's blasphemous if it's judging. It's blasphemous if it's saying that's good and that's bad. And this should be here and that shouldn't be here. Vision. Christ's vision is the sight that doesn't judge. The sight that isn't trying to change things. The sight that isn't fighting with what it sees. The sight that isn't trying to fix things. What can frighten me when I let all things be exactly as they are? Let not our sight be blasphemous today, nor let our ears attend to lying tongues. Only reality is free of pain. Only reality is free of loss. Only reality is wholly safe. And it is only this we seek today. That's acceptance. That's surrender to this moment exactly as it's showing up without your ego's story about it. That's what this is. And the ego has all these stories about enlightenment in the future and waking up in the future and how things will be better and things will be different. And that's not what the Course is saying. The Course is saying no, reality's here. You have to give up the fight. You have to give up the seeking and the analyzing. You have to give up this grievance with how this moment is appearing. You have to stop judging. That's all. And you can only do that now. Salvation's here, now, in this moment, if you meet it without fighting with it. It is at this moment that complete salvation is offered you and that you can accept it. This is still your one responsibility. Atonement is a total escape from the past and a total escape from the future. Heaven is here. There's nowhere else. Heaven is now. There's no other time. Heaven is shining in your mind at this very moment. Reality is here. Except you have judgment, an analysis, and you have a war going on with emotions and thoughts. But what if the war stopped? Now. What if you stopped telling yourself stories about anything? What if you just dropped the stories and let this moment be exactly as it is? Maybe there's fear here. Maybe there's sadness here. Maybe there's physical pain here. Maybe there's a sense of being lost. This desperate need to seek for something and seek after something. That's all the mind. But the mind isn't you. What's here when you let the mind be exactly as it is? When you stop telling stories? What's here when you end your war with anxiety? Again, I really want to really push home the importance of no agenda. Atonement is a total escape from the future, total lack of interest in the future. So where does that leave? Oh, I can be enlightened when the sadness is gone. Oh, I can be enlightened when the anxiety is gone. Where does that leave that? You see the trap, the ego's trap. This shouldn't be like this. This shouldn't be here. These thoughts shouldn't be here. This emotion shouldn't be here. How do I get rid of it? How do I fight my war with my emotions? How do I win against the emotions? That's the dream. That's the ego. This is a bad emotion. I want a good emotion. That's the dream. That's what seems to separate out reality into duality. That's what seems to shatter wholeness. This is a bad emotion. I want a good emotion. There's no such thing as a good or a bad emotion. That's a judgment. It's a projection. There's just emotion. What would I discover about the nature of reality if emotion was allowed to be emotion. If sadness was here and it was welcome. If grief was here and it was welcome. If I wasn't trying to fix it and change it and call it bad and grasp after something my ego tells me is better, what is the reality the Course is telling me I will uncover in myself if I just stop fighting? If I just stop seeking? If I just stop rejecting this moment exactly as it's showing up? Horace is saying, don't be fooling yourself about a future moment. There's no such thing. Can you meet this moment without fighting it? Can you meet the emotions without fighting with them and having an agenda for them, wanting them gone, vanquished, your enemies? This is the message of A Course in Miracles. Forgiveness sets you free. Not fighting emotions, not fixing emotions, not changing emotions, not getting rid of emotions. What sets you free, what unveils the reality that's right here and now, is meeting those emotions without resistance or agenda. The ego is trying to control. That's what the ego wants, control. The Holy Spirit just accepts everything. It's such a simple and overlooked message A Course in Miracles is giving you. What is the reality that's here when you're not trying to control experience or resisting it? What's here when you stop trying to control? What's here when you meet the emotions that are here without trying to control them, without resisting them, without wanting war with them, without wanting them gone? What is here in this moment if I let all things be exactly as they are? If I stop telling myself stories about this moment and let it be? What is here in this very moment if there is a stopping of trying to resist and control and change and fix? What is here when that stops? What is here when this moment is accepted exactly as it is? Not when it's perfected, not when the insane voice shuts up, not when this bad emotion turns into a good emotion, not when I understand more. What's here now when all that is accepted? When you move into acceptance instead of control, when you forgive everything the way it is instead of telling yourself stories about it. You know, we all say, oh, but I have this anxiety. I know that because I did for 8 years. But I have this anxiety and it's awful. And mine was. And I couldn't even meditate. Or I would get convulsions, like hypnic jerks, and I just couldn't sit still. My mind wouldn't stop. So I'm not minimizing anyone's experience of anxiety or grief or sadness or shame or depression. I'm not minimizing any of that. But you need to understand that your particular poison, your particular demon, is the door that brings you home to God. It's not the obstacle. The obstacle is not in the way. The obstacle is the way. You can't fight it. Well, you can, but you're going to suffer awfully. And you can't set out to fix it because that's just going to cause you pain. You can't want to change it or you're listening to the ego, who will always lead you into hell. All that's asked of you is acceptance. That's it. That's the door. That's the door. That's what forgiveness is. Acceptance. Forgiveness is still and it quietly does nothing. It offends no aspect of reality, not the thoughts, not the emotions, not the sensations, nor does it seek to twist it to appearances it likes. You see that? That's acceptance. That's the door. Can you see what the problem has been? The non-acceptance, the rejection of what's here in favor of something imaginary in an imaginary future that's better. That's the dream. That's the ego's trap. You're being told salvation is here. It's the acceptance of this moment exactly as it is. This moment. Just this one. Just this one. Because it's the only one there is. What's here now when the fight stops? When the attempt to control stops? When the attempt to understand stops? What's here when the seeking stops? What's here when the grievance and the fight with emotion stops? The miracle comes quietly into the mind that stops an instant and is still. That is the stillness of acceptance. That is the stillness of forgiveness. This moment, exactly as it is, without my story. And to take the rest of that quote, the miracle comes quietly into the mind that stops, an instant, and is still. And it reaches gently from that quiet time. And from the mind it healed in quiet then to other minds to share its quietness. Quietness of acceptance. What is the quietness of acceptance? What is the end of non-acceptance? What is the end of pushing and pulling on this moment? What is the end of the rejection of this moment in favor of some fictional future moment? What happens when there's a stopping? When you stop moving your mind to make stories? What's here when the sensations in your body right now are noticed without a story about them, without your mind's narration of good and bad and right and wrong and should and shouldn't? It's about acceptance. That's what this is about. This is where everyone goes wrong. If you don't get this, you're going to run out trying to change your body, trying to change your life, trying to change your behavior, trying to change your brother. And that is the spiritualized ego trap. That is the spiritualized ego trap. You have an agenda. You are rejecting what your brother is in this moment. You are rejecting what the body is in this moment. You are rejecting what is happening with emotions in this moment. And you have an agenda. And that is delusion. It's delusion. Where is the acceptance? Where is the salvation that's here now with your brother exactly as he is? With your body exactly as it is? With the emotions exactly as they are now? Where's the acceptance? Either there is the acceptance of this moment exactly as it is, or there is delusion. There is a dream, and there is suffering. There is not knowing what you are or what your brother is. And the crazy, deluded Don Quixote fighting windmills desire to be a holy ego miracle worker that wants to change things, that wants to fix your brother. that wants to put something better than this moment in place. There is hatred for this moment. There is hatred for the body. There is hatred for emotions. There is hatred for your brother. And a deluded voyage for you, the deluded ego, to fix things. That's a future. Where's the total lack of interest in the future? Where is the freedom that's here now when there's acceptance? When the fight with this moment stops, when this moment is forgiven, when I let this moment show up exactly as it's showing up, because that's all this is about. When you discover that freedom, that's the holy instant. And when you've learned that this freedom is here anytime you meet this moment without a story, now there can be miracle working. What I mean by that is you don't have to go around all day long completely free, knowing reality. I mean, you can step out of the dream anytime you want. The dream of stories. And you can have the direct experience of this moment without thoughts, without narration, without judgment. And reality's here. And now this quiet in your mind can reach out to the quiet in all minds. Reality has never been touched by a concept. And it's here. And the sadness and the anxiety and the fear and the grief, that's your portal back to reality from dreams. See, when we listen to the ego and we're in opposition and trying to fix and change and get rid of, we're all bunched up and contracted. We're bracing ourselves against experience. Oh, this anxiety in my mind. Oh, this terrible grief. See, we're all bunched up and contracted. Some of you, like myself, you might remember, well, they're still on the go, but they had a big boom. I think it might have been in the 80s or the 90s, the Care Bears. So if you don't remember watching Care Bears cartoons yourself, you may have had some kids or some grandkids who watch the Care Bears cartoon. So the Care Bears would encounter a situation of negativity, problems, challenges, opposition, and they did the Care Bear stare. They all lined up and they opened out their chest, and light shone out of their heart. And that solved everything. And it's very like that. It pretty much is that. There is all the stuff in your mind that you're bracing yourself against, that you've declared war on, that you're trying to fix and you're trying to change because you think you know what it should be. You're all bunched up and contracted against it, wincing against it, holding it at arm's length. And then students are saying to me, but what do I do now? How do I fix it? What do I do about this anxiety? See? And the answer is the Care Bear stare. You drop all your defenses and you open up your heart. Notice how contracted you are against what's here, how opposed you are to it, how much wincing you're doing against it, the way you're trying to hold it at arm's length, the way you're kind of looking through your fingers at it. So, what's the worst thing that could happen if you totally accepted the fear? What's the worst thing that could happen if you totally accepted the sadness? This goes against everything the ego taught you, the analysis, the fixing, the fighting, the rejecting of this moment for a different moment, all the ego's lies. And this goes against every single thing the ego has taught you. You open and you accept. You embrace the sadness. You embrace the fear. You adopt the Care Bear stare. Look what I'm doing with my hands. You're all bunched up and contracted. You're like, what do I do about it? And you open. You open. That's what you do. It's all you do. It's all that's asked. You open. forgiveness. And if you notice the way you're bunched and fighting and looking through your fingers and trying to keep experience at arm's length, if you notice that and you drop that and you open, you accept this emotion exactly as it is, there's an opening. There's an opening. There's an opportunity for reality to tell you of itself. There's an opportunity in that opening for a vastness and a peace to tell you of itself. But you can't grasp it with your mind. This has nothing to do with the mind. And this isn't some object you look for in the mind. When you open, when you accept, instead of trying to fix or get rid of, there is an opportunity not to fix your story. There is an opportunity to go beyond the story. There is an opportunity to see what's at the end of all stories. This great stillness the mind has never touched, which is still here, which has never been lost, which has never been wounded. It was here prior to thoughts, prior to the world, prior to consciousness. And it's here now. And it will be here when the world and thoughts and consciousness is done. Force calls it the holy place where thoughts can enter not. And it's here. There's an opening. But your door is your trauma. Your door is the emotions you've been trying to fix and get rid of and fight. That's your door. It's the fear. It's the anxiety. It's the shame. It's the door. That's the obstacle that's not in the way. That's the obstacle that is the way. When you accept, when you open. Portal. It's the opportunity. To go beyond the story. It's what's asked of us. That's the freedom that's promised us. The freedom that's here beyond personality, beyond story, beyond thoughts, feelings, stories, memories. The freedom that's shining here beyond all of that. It transcends everything. Can I accept? Can the seeking stop? Can the trying to understand stop? Can the becoming stop? Can I open? Can I notice how shut down I am against life and experience in this moment? And can I open? Can I accept everything that's here in this moment? Can I do the Care Bear stare? Can I open instead of shutting down against the thoughts, against the emotions, against the trauma? Can I open instead of closing down around it? I accept this moment exactly as it is, not the way my ego tells me it should be or it shouldn't be. Can I accept this moment exactly as it is, right now? Can I open? Can I accept? When there's acceptance, there's no separating out. There's no judgment. There's no duality. And that which knows no duality is here at the opening that acceptance facilitated. That which knows no story. This, the truth, reality, what you actually are, what everything actually is. And forgiveness is the door. Acceptance is the door. Opening to this moment instead of seeking a better one. That's the door. Acceptance is what forgiveness is about. And it's the most powerful force in the dream. Acceptance. Not fixing, not fighting, not changing. That's the ego. That requires time. I do something in this moment, and the imaginary future moment is where it all falls into place for me. That's the lie. That's the trap. It's this moment, experienced directly without a story. What opens up in my mind when I open up to the sadness, when I open up to the anxiety, instead of cringing against it, instead of holding it at arm's length? What is here in my mind in this moment when I let all things be exactly as they are? when I open to all things instead of shutting down against them, contracting into judgment and opposition, and seeking and striving and grievance and pushing and pulling. What happens when that stops and there's an opening? What makes itself known is wholeness. The wholeness of your true nature. The wholeness that's the truth of everything and everyone you're looking at already. Okay, so let's open up for some questions. Corey has had her hand up from the start, so Linda will send you an invite, Corey, to take yourself off mute.
Hello, Keith. Hi, everyone.
Hi, Corey.
So I have a situation that's come up many, many times, and the typical way that it's resolved is if I acquiesce and apologize. So I'm reading this section from chapter 9. When you correct a brother, you are telling him that he is wrong. He may be making no sense at the time, and it is certain that if he is speaking from the ego, he will not be making sense. But your task is still to tell him he is right. So when I read that, I get so defensive. It's unbelievable. So I guess my question is, how does my safety lie in my defenselessness?
Because the self that needs protection is not real. It's a story.
So the feelings that I feel when I acquiesce for the umpteenth time, those feelings that make me feel really weak aren't real. Like, how do I get away from that without anger and defensiveness?
Sorry, the purpose of the world and the purpose of whatever's happening in your life right now is to show you those emotions. It's not causing them. There is no cause in the world. The emotions that you're experiencing are the reason the world was written the way it is. So the emotions come first. And the situations in life, if we listen to the ego, can be blamed for the emotions. And if we listen to the Holy Spirit, are blessing us by showing us what's already in our mind. Force tells us projection makes perception. You can only interpret in the world what you have projected there that's already in your own mind. Wayne Dyer used to say, if I squeeze an orange juice, what comes out? The answer is orange juice. So if situations in your life are causing you to feel weak, shame, inadequacy, if life is squeezing you, what's coming out is what was already there. But the ego goes, now you have someone to blame. Now you can blame the world. And that's what we've done always. But the Holy Spirit says there's another way. This has been in your unconscious, running you like a robot on egoic patterns. This inadequacy, this shame, this fear. And now life is showing you what's here. But you have to stop telling yourself stories and meet the emotions that are here without stories. See, if you want to know how to make your life better, Corey, and make everyone behave themselves and behave the way your ego wants them to behave, A Course in Miracles can't help you.
Yeah.
And I can't help you because that's never going to happen. See, but A Course in Miracles is going, but that's not what the world is for. Bending it to your will and making everyone behave the way your ego wants. That's not what the world is for. The world can be a huge blessing if you let it show you the wrongness that's in you, the inadequacy that's in you, the shame that's in you, which was here before the world. Of course, is about having the world bless you by showing it to you, and then you by opening to these emotions instead of stories about them, instead of
Yeah.
blaming them and cringing against them and fighting against them. And what if there's an opening? What if the Course isn't making it up? The real world is the state of mind wherein the only purpose of the world is seen to be forgiveness. Forget not that the healing of God's Son is all the world is for. That to shift the purpose of the world. Are people behaving this way to torture me, make me an innocent victim? Or does the world have a different purpose? Is the world a classroom? What happens when I shift the purpose of the world and go, everything's always perfect, to show me what's next, to heal and go home?
Yeah.
See? So when I ask that question, your ego goes, well, of course I want to change people. Of course, that's what I want. But that's just a thought. That's not you. So what I want to say to you is none of this means you hang around in situations that you don't want to be in, that are not good for you, that are not safe for you. That none of this is saying, oh, you have to hang around and be a doormat. This is not what this is saying at all. Okay, the first thing you have to do is accept this moment exactly as it is.
Okay.
And then let spirit guide you on how to respond to a forgiven world instead of reacting to a judged one.
Yeah. That's brilliant, Keith. Thank you.
But Kari, in this moment, what emotions is grace allowing you to see in yourself right now?
Mm. A lot of frustration because it's such an ongoing issue that
That's the ego's attempt to control. But what's underneath that? What's the control defending against? What's the real emotion?
futility.
Yeah, again, this is the ego's obsession with controlling everything, controlling its emotions and controlling other people. So they keep your emotions underneath the trapdoor. And okay, so that's all control. But what's the control defending against? What's the control designed keep under the trapdoor if everyone behaves themselves?
Guilt.
And can you feel that guilt?
Yes.
It really feels like when you burrow into it, because we can overuse the word guilt from the Course in Miracles. When you really burrow into guilt, it's shame.
Yeah.
It's a sense that there's something wrong with me, isn't it?
100%.
What's the worst thing that could happen if you completely opened and accepted that in this moment?
My first response is I lose.
And what's the worst thing that could happen if your mind is telling you you lose? Well, what's the worst thing that could happen if you just embrace that?
I think it would maybe dissolve. I think that I don't know what the worst. It's just I get stuck there.
So, so what if you just let go now?
Yeah.
What if you just opened to the emotion, the inadequacy that grace is showing you? Because you're not inadequate. You just don't know what you are. But can you open to that fear, that shame, that sense of worthlessness, that hopelessness, that is ego, that is guilt? Could you just now just do this, Corey, just in this moment, just do the Care Bear stare and open. Just no, but do it now. Just
Okay,
let go.
I'm
Just
doing
let go.
it.
Just let go. Just let go. And you just accept the emotion that's here in this moment. And you bring it to openness instead of story. And what's here?
Nothing.
You separate from the nothing.
No, not right now.
Is it ever any other time apart from now?
Seems like there is.
Have you ever been in the past?
No,
Have you ever been in the future?
no,
Have you ever been anywhere except now?
no,
If you stop thinking, can the past exist?
no,
Stop thinking, can the future exist?
no.
And all that's here is the awake, alive, nothing. That's everything.
Yeah.
Just notice again where the bunching up and the contraction. Just notice that again. Can you just open again? All right. And what's here?
Freedom. It feels a lot
Yeah.
lighter and
Yeah. Is there a you and freedom, or is there just freedom?
there's just freedom.
Yeah. The you is just a construct of thoughts, but this is what's beyond story. This is what's beyond concepts. Freedom that's here, Kari. Has it ever been wounded?
Mm, no, no,
That's right. Is it wounded now?
no.
The self that needs protection is not real. In my defenselessness, my safety lies because it reveals the freedom.
Wow.
And there's only one freedom. In the beginning, this is experienced as I am. The one I am, that's the truth of everything and everyone. Storylessness, which is already here. The mind is just spinning its matrix of lies. But when we open to our emotions, there's an opening to escape from the mind's dreams, thoughts, and that which cannot be touched by thought or trauma, that which needs no defense, that
Right.
which needs no protection can make itself known. But Corey, just again, just notice where you started to bunch up and contract again. Can you just open?
Yes.
And what's here?
Again, it's just a sense of peace and nothing.
Yeah. This is the nothing that's everything. That's spirit. This is what everyone is with you. Everything
Yeah.
else is thoughts.
Well, thank you, Keith.
Yeah. So, Corey, ultimately, we live from the no thing that's everything instead of from a thought constructed identity called me.
Yeah.
Every time you contract back into the me, the story, there will be pain, there will be suffering, there will be guilt, and it'll get projected out. And you'll want to be the innocent victim of the world. But when you open,
Hmm.
when there's acceptance, when there's the forgiveness, there's the opening to what's here at the end of the journey that's already here.
Right.
See, we see the journey from the point at which it ended, looking back, imagining we make it once again. The imagination is the mind, but the freedom, this is already at the end. This is here in the midst of the trauma, in the midst of the thoughts, in the midst of the good days and the bad days, in the midst of the torture, in the midst of the crucifixion. Freedom is here. Freedom is here, untouched by any of it.
Yeah.
Intimately one with everything, because it's the substance of everything, and yet always unsoiled by anything. Freedom is what you are. The other self is imagined. So don't make a decision about what you do in a situation from separateness. Come home to the freedom that's the truth of everyone already, except in thoughts, and meet the emotions without blaming the other person for doing it. They're actually blessing you by showing you these emotions so you can do the Care Bear stare. Okay? So you can integrate these emotions, so you can accept these emotions. Not fix them, not fight them, accept them.
Right. Right.
That's the only portal there is. Um, and in that, this opening to freedom, to infinity, um, there's peace. And from the peace can come a response. Not from analysis, not from right and wrong and good and bad and fair and unfair, but a response can come from peace. And that'll be the right response. So stop analyzing. That's the ego. Open.
Yeah.
Come home. And let a response come from peace instead of from the noise of the ego's analysis. Let a response come from shared identity. Because this is not just the freedom that you are, it's the freedom that everyone is with you. This is shared identity, and it's already here. Let a response come from here. That's the message. Thanks, Corey.
Thank you so much.
My pleasure. Sophia.
Sophia, did you get it? Asking you to unmute. Okay.
Got it. Hi, Keith. This has been illuminating. Thank you. I am wondering if you can speak a little more about, I see how I'm constantly trying to change my moment to be more desirable in very minute ways all through the day. So I would just like you to speak a little on that. Like, say I make a cup of tea in the morning and I'm like, oh, this moment would be more desirable if I heated it up a little more. So I'm going to take action to shift it. Or I'm in the shower and like, oh, it's a little too cold. I feel like I'm in this small box that I keep myself in with preference and aversion, but it's not my preference and aversion, but I'm taking action on it to make my moment different. It's everything you were speaking of, but I'm just wondering how to navigate that. Maybe it's a layer of being aware of the decisions of preference and aversion and not judging them or making them wrong, but it's still like a layer of wanting to change the moment and make it more preferable.
No. You're getting a little bit caught up. See, watch how this can go. Watch how simple this is. The Course says you've no idea the deep peace of meeting yourself and your brother completely without judgment. See? So watch how this can go. The taste of tea. The thought it could be warmer, that's accepted. It's heated, that's accepted. It's tasted, that's accepted. The feel of the water, that's accepted. The thought the water could be warmer, that's accepted. You're getting into stories. Oh, I shouldn't have the aversion and I shouldn't have the preferences. No, 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 no. There's a thought that's here, that's accepted. See how simple this is? Don't get into stories of what's virtuous and not virtuous. Don't get into stories about any of it. Let me tell you that it doesn't matter how liberated someone is, they're going to prefer tea or coffee.
Yeah.
They're going to prefer a cold shower or a warm shower. They're not attached to it. Okay? So preferences can be accepted. In the acceptance, there's no identity in them. The problem isn't thoughts. The problem is the belief there's a thinker of them. The problem isn't preferences. The problem is the belief there's a me that is cause of them. You see, that's it's the false self that's the problem. It's the contraction into the me that's the problem. See? So my brother sits before me, that's accepted. My brother has stuff going on in his life, that's accepted. See, I'm not going, how do I fix him? How do I change him? Right? It's accepted. See, as long as there's acceptance, there's the backward step. There's the opening. There's the freedom. As long as there's acceptance, instead of contracting against thoughts, emotions, feelings, experience, other people, when there's an opening, there's the backward step. So you're getting trapped in judgment. You're judging preference. That's the problem, not preference. When all is accepted, there is the freedom that's here, whether the tea is hot or cold. When there's acceptance, there's the freedom that's here, whether the water is hot or cold. When there's acceptance, there's the freedom that's here, whether the body is sick or well, whether the body will live or die, whether the body is crucified or not. When there's acceptance, there's freedom. There's the expansiveness. So what's coming up for you in this moment, Sophie?
Yeah, it's landing what you're saying. And I'm watching the thoughts that are trying to be like, but what about if I'm sitting next to my partner and I'm accepting that he's talking really loud, but I want to ask him to talk quieter. It's like I just see all these preferences and aversions. I just feel like it's the same thing as a tea if I like it. But maybe if I just accepted the moment, then a different action would arise and I wouldn't feel the need to try to change him. But
Yeah,
do you
but
know what
you're
I mean?
also feeling the need to change you.
Hmm.
See, the message is that all you have to do with all the ego patterns, which includes desire and aversion, grasping and grievances, judgment, and all the rest of it, all you're asked to do is to realize that that's just processes. That's not you, that's processes. There's no identity in any of those processes. See, that's just the mind's processes. And in order to begin healing the mind, all you do is you bring it to truth. You bring it to acceptance. You bring it to that which can't judge it. And now everything starts to soften. But you're not trying to fix it. You're not trying to fix the mind patterns. Your job is to bring them to what cannot judge them and won't try and change them. The looking that we're talking about, this vision, which is not blasphemous, this vision that looks and doesn't try to change anything, paradoxically ends up changing everything. Like, your job is forgiveness. Your job is acceptance. Your job is bringing the wrong mind to the right mind, not fixing the wrong mind. The way you bring the wrong mind to the right mind is acceptance, opening. See? So my husband's speaking loudly. I have a thought that, oh, I hate when he talks loudly. Contraction, contraction. And I really want to tell him to stop. Contraction, 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 contraction. See? And I'm judging myself. And now I'm trying to fix myself. And I'm being a perfectionist. But what if you just opened? Now there's an opening. Now there's the freedom that's here, whether my husband speaks loud or low. Now here's the freedom that's here, no matter what thoughts are doing. Now there's the freedom that's here, whether the ego gets what it wants or it doesn't.
Yes.
That's from opening. That's not from contracting down and judging yourself and trying to fix yourself and wanting to be perfect. This is contraction. Can you feel the contraction in that?
Yeah.
Can you feel the difference when you just let go?
Yes.
See, all this is the end of trying to resist and control experience. That's all this is. When the desire to control and resist ends, there's no ego anymore, because that's all the ego is. There's just freedom. The ultimate freedom is no control. The only control that matters is not wanting to control anything. And that unveils eternity. Thanks, Sophia.
Thank you.
Dana, or Dana, you can clear that up for me. My lovely assistant will give you an invite to take yourself off mute.
Yes, thank you. It's Dana, but it's fine.
Dana.
So I grew up in the 80s, so thank you for the Care Bear analogy. That really made me smile. I loved the
Cool.
Care Bear. So, and thank you for everything today. Everything has been so helpful. For me, it's what I struggle with the most is shame and guilt, and feeling like the need to control everything around me in regards to other people, and feeling that my actions is somehow causing them to be sad or to suffer. It's really difficult for me to get out when I'm spinning in something like that.
Well, that's
And-
just a thought world. That's not reality. It's just thoughts.
Mhm.
So there's no you that's trying to control anyone. There's thoughts that you're mistaking for yourself, but what you are can only accept. You can't push against reality. Thoughts can, but thoughts are not you. So what emotions are here now in this moment?
I do feel shame.
So
For me,
what's
so
the
I guess
worst thing that could happen if you opened completely to the shame that's here in this moment? If you met it without a story? What's the worst that could happen? If you
there is
dropped all your defenses and just let it be here. If you embraced it. if you felt it, what's the worst that could happen without the stories? The stories are a way of defending against it. But what
I
if you let it in?
I feel that I'm somehow like spiritual bypassing, like saying that
Oh
like
no, you're
I
never. No, 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 no. Thoughts are an attempt to spiritually bypass. When you're when you're opening to your emotions, that's the opposite of spiritual bypassing. The whole world is a spiritual bypass. It was made so you could tell yourself stories about what you, the body, did in the past and what other people did to you, the body. And all those stories are emotional bypassing. All those stories are there to keep you from feeling what you think is the darkness in yourself. See, the stories are, the thoughts are the bypass. But what if the bypass stopped? What if you dropped the stories? What's the worst thing that could happen if you dropped all the stories and felt the shame that's here?
there would just be acceptance.
Well, in this moment, can you be aware of what guilt feels like, the shame, the not being good enough, the inadequacy? Could you just now actually do the Care Bear stare? Can you just open? Can you just open? Don't tell yourself a story about accepting. Just open. Do it. Tell me what's here.
I feel peace.
Has the piece ever been wounded?
No,
Is there ever anything wrong in the piece?
no,
Is the piece trying to control anyone?
no,
Does it need any defense?
no.
This is what you are. Thoughts are a lie. The thought world is the matrix. You go in there and you identify with thoughts and you think you're something that can be controlled and controlling, that can be sick and that can die. None of that's real. Only, only this. Only what you are that you can't think about is real. So just whatever emotion is here right now in this moment, you just do the Care Bear stare. You just open. And what's here?
Just beingness.
Yeah. And it's not even that because that's word, and there's no words here. But when we communicate, we have to say something. But actually, what's here doesn't even have the word beingness in it. It's the holy place where thoughts can enter not. It's the self you are that you can't think about. And it's already here. And it's already whole. So this is never about you fixing your story of the me, which doesn't exist. Okay, because this is what you are. This is what everyone is. So this is always about going beyond the story, not fixing the story, Dana. You can't fix the story. It's a mess. And it's a fiction. And it's a lie. You come home to the truth. And thought, decision, and action can come from here, the quiet center, instead of from the mess in your mind that pretends to be you. The story that goes nowhere. So, again, whatever is here, can you just notice if you're bunched against anything and just open? Whatever is here in this moment is your portal to the truth of who you are. Just open.
I can feel ego saying, and then what?
So that's a thought. There's no then what. So that thought, and then what? Is that you? Or are you that which is aware of that thought arising?
I'm the one that's aware of the thought.
Yeah. And you were here before that thought arose. and you'll be
Yes.
here when that thought's done. Thoughts are arising and dissolving like all illusions, but you're not arising and dissolving. Thoughts are not you. Doesn't matter what thoughts say, as long as you don't think, they're yours. Thoughts are the sentinels guarding the holy place where thoughts can enter not. They're what keep you outside. When you identify with thoughts, that thought arising is not a problem unless you identify with it, unless you think it's important, unless you think it's true, unless you think, oh, that's a good thought, I should follow that thought with a million more thoughts standing behind it. Now you're just back in hell. Well, what if you just allow thoughts to be thoughts? Not reality. Reality is what's here when you open, in spite of the thought. To the holy place where thoughts can enter not. Oh, they can say whatever they want. They're just illusions. Nothing they tell you that you are is true. Because you can only be what you are. You can't think about it. So whatever is here, whatever incompleteness, whatever dissatisfaction with this is here, can you just open to it instead of cringing and fighting and defending? Can you just open and tell
Yes.
me tell me what's here?
I feel there's, again, I don't have another word for it, but just acceptance and peace instead of fighting it, saying I shouldn't be feeling this way or this is
Yeah, well,
wrong.
you're not saying that, Dana. Those are just thoughts. They're not you. So
Okay.
come home to the peace and tell me, does this peace need a next moment to be whole?
No, it doesn't.
Does it need and then what? Or is it already whole?
It's already whole.
We can live from here, but you're going to have to keep opening to your emotions. And as you do, this, the unspeakable, the unthinkable, the unsayable, the unknowable, the indivisible, will start to feel more and more like home. Will start to feel more and more like the truth of what I am. And you'll start to spend more time here. And when you back in the mind's dreams of self and other, very quickly, when there's suffering, you just want to get back home to God, which is the place where there's no me, just the I that is everything. So again, this isn't about fixing fictional stories. This is about going beyond the stories every single time to the wholeness that's here on the other side of the mind stories. Thanks, Dana.
Thank you. Can I just add one more? I
Mhm.
would love to see in the future if you could just touch on, and I know there's no bodies and there's no illusions, but death is kind of a big subject in my household. And I would just love to see if that's something you could touch on in the future.
So
The
go and investigate the one who will die. Can the stillness die?
No,
Is there any death in the stillness?
no,
So what dies?
just the story.
Just the story. So die before you die. Die to the story now, and it's done.
There's still a lot of fear around it, though.
But what if you just open to the fear?
Okay.
You're just into a lot of fear, which means I'm bunched up and I'm contracted and I don't want to look at it or let it. But what if the fear was welcome? Can you just do the Care Bear stare now with the fear? Can you just open?
Yes.
And what's here?
Just the stillness.
Is there any birth or death here in the stillness?
There isn't, but there's still grief when somebody that you love passes on. And then I feel guilt for that grief because I'm making something real that's an illusion.
Yeah, so that's a lot of stories about the grief. What if the grief could be here? What if you just open to the grief instead of telling yourself stories that it's guilty? What if you just open? What's here?
Just stillness.
Is there anything to die here in the stillness?
No,
Can you find the one who will die?
I cannot find the one who would die.
It doesn't exist. Death is a thought. The one who dies is a thought. The stillness is eternal. And it's already here. Thanks, Dana.
Thank you so much, Keith.
My pleasure. All right, so we have 3 more. So we'll finish with Barbara, but we'll go to Leela next.
Leila, did you get it?
Get an invite. There
There,
you
I
go.
think I got it.
Okay.
Hi, Keith.
Oh, yeah.
You may have noticed that I had my hand up and I lowered it. I lowered it because I thought, well, my question is silly compared to the deep lesson and what's going on. But then when I realized I was ashamed of my question, I put my hand back up because I thought that was the issue.
So what's the
Um,
question?
Well, my goal, all of us are wanting to reach a higher prayer, the song of prayer, where we sing our love and gratitude to the Father and He to us. And occasionally I'll think, well, if the Father, the Creator, doesn't see the dream, then is he hearing my prayer? And then I thought that's silly because either way, the Holy Spirit will take care of it.
Okay, that's a lot of thoughts.
I know.
That's a lot of concepts. So concepts
Yeah.
will never take you home to God. Concepts are blocking the
Okay.
way home. God is already here. So all questions are silly. There's a part in the course where it
Okay.
says, thus is all
Um,
questioning within the world a form of propaganda for itself.
yes.
See,
Okay.
so every question begins with, I believe I am a self made out of thoughts that's separate and different from God and from everyone else. And I want to know, how does this apply to me?
Mm.
That's what the course is saying. So what you're saying is all questions arise on behalf of a self that doesn't exist. So let's get past all the concepts, Leila. What's the emotion that's here?
Um, I think the emotion is not getting it or
Yeah,
misunderstanding.
yeah. So can you find the one that won't get it, that can't get it, the one that's getting it wrong? Can you find her apart
Mm.
from thoughts?
No.
So she doesn't exist. So what's
Right.
here? What's here outside of thoughts?
Oh, the wonderfulness.
Yeah, but now,
Um,
but now, look, let's
yes.
open. Let's open.
Okay.
All these fictional thoughts about a one who won't get things, and
Um,
can you just open now? Do the Care
okay.
Bear stare and just
There's
open completely.
right, and there's forgiveness for that.
Okay, that's a thought, but can you just open? Because
That's
that's
a
what
thought.
forgiveness is.
Yes.
Can you
Okay.
just open? Wordlessly, can you just
Okay.
open? And tell me about the openness. Is there anything to get here in the openness?
No, and there's really no words.
Yeah, but and is there any questions in the openness?
Oh no.
Is there any spiritual path in the openness?
No.
Is there any self in the openness?
No.
Any past or future?
No.
Any division in the openness?
No.
Would God be apart from this openness? Is anything apart from this openness?
No.
Can I be apart from this openness?
No.
Can anyone on this call be apart from this openness?
No.
There you go, you went home.
Thank you.
If you go back into thoughts, then you think you've left home, but you can't leave home. There's only the openness. There's only the holy place where thoughts can enter not. The holy place where questions can enter not is all that's here.
Thank you.
Remember, the Course tells you, I can be still an instant and go home.
Yes.
It's not messing around. Stillness is home. Now, stillness is a doorway. When you investigate the stillness, it goes deeper, but it's the doorway.
Thank you so much. Well, anyway, more thoughts.
It's
Thank
just
you.
thoughts. Remember, salvation is nothing more than the escape from concept.
Right.
I'll be still an instant and go home. Thanks,
Thank you.
Leila. Chrissy, you're up.
Hello again.
Go for it.
Okay. Okay. So in my dark decade of the soul and facing my physical illnesses and mental challenges with depression and all that stuff, more and more I'm experiencing what I would call not a thought that I would normally identify with. So in the morning, I face a lot of depression, a lot of physical problems with my lungs. And I find it, I know this is a story, but this is my story, so I got to share it. Sometimes I find it a challenge to get out of bed, and the self-talk can be challenging as well. But anyway, this morning, this is just one experience, but I'm having a lot of these experiences, and I need to know if I'm going nuts or if this is just part of it. So I look at the dog bowl from my bed and I'm like, oh God, I gotta get up. I gotta feed the dog. And I'm feeling like really heavy and I can hardly breathe. And I'm trying to wake my puppers to work, blah, blah, blah. And then a voice comes in my head, and this is a thought, I'm not hearing voices, but a thought that says, no, you're not. You're not feeding the dog. That's just happening. And it pulled me right out of my negative, or not even just negative, but it just pulled me out of where I was at. And I was like right in the moment. And I got up. I never even thought about the dog bowl. And I'm going through my morning, making a coffee, blah, blah, blah. And it happens again. And just as I pick up the bowl, see, you weren't even thinking about picking up the bowl. And these thoughts that I wouldn't normally associate with my own are like coming all the time now. And I feel like maybe I'm going to be giving these thoughts credit, and I don't want to be spiritualizing.
No. You never want to give thoughts credit.
No, exactly.
So wrong-minded thoughts hold you in bondage, and right-minded thoughts are orienting thoughts. They don't keep you in the thought world, they orient you out of it. So these are orienting thoughts. So when a thought says, but there is no you struggling to get out of bed, that's true. Now, if that's just a thought, that's useless. Okay, but if it brings an experience, that's something else entirely. It has oriented you out of the dream. The fact is, the stillness is appearing as the body and the bed and the movement and the colors and the room and the weather and the waves and the planets and the stars. Okay, the stillness is appearing as all of that. And the stillness is what you and everything is. What there's not is the separate self, me, that's doing it. That's ego. That's the false self. That's the wild illusion. You
Then
see,
this is a solution. This is beautiful. Like, this is
but
freeing.
yes,
It's freeing.
if it brings you home to freedom, that's that's the highest goal of any thought. But
Yeah.
don't let these thoughts have you then have a million thoughts after that. Let them lead you out of thoughts. So yes, there's thoughts, but the one that's thinking them and following them is a thought.
Yeah.
But what's aware of the thoughts?
That's stillness.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And is there any birth or sickness or death in the stillness?
And nothing like that. I don't
So
even know what to say what there is. Sometimes
no,
I
you
feel like
can't. You
stillness can't
can't.
even come.
You can't even think it, never mind say it.
Yeah.
Or because the minute you think it, it becomes a self-concept, it becomes a lie. You can only be it. You can't think about it. That means you've just gone back into the ego's world of thoughts and concepts.
Thanks so much, Keith. This has been a really great meeting. And to Sophia, thank you so much. I really resonated too with what you were expressing because I'm going through very similar things. And
Thanks,
thanks for the
Chrissy.
Care Bear analogy too.
Yeah,
I'm an 80s girl too.
very
Anyway,
cool.
thanks a lot, Keith.
Thanks, Chrissy. Barbara, you'll take us out. So you should get an invite. There you go.
Hi, Keith.
Hey,
Thank
Barbara.
you. So an hour or two before I joined, my cat vomited, which is not unusual, but then he swayed and looked like he was gonna fall over, and I was gripped with terror as I thought he was dying. And I realized that I'm in this terror, but I couldn't not act from that place, and I could feel the gripping. I was calling a vet online, and I just was focused on this terror of him dying, or like that I have to do something. And and then I finally joined your call as things calmed down and he seemed okay. And I was like, what's going on? And I want to sort of use this as an opportunity to, go deeper. And
All things are lessons God would have me learn. So when we see our brother, whether he's two-legged or four-legged, as something that can die, we've attacked him. But only because we attacked ourselves first to believe we're something that can die. But the thing that can die is a story. It's not here, apart from thoughts. It doesn't exist. So when we see others as things that die, that's not the problem. That's a symptom of the problem, which is that you think you're a thing that can die. You couldn't misperceive your brother, two-legged or four-legged, unless you first misperceived yourself. So, Barbara, in this moment, can you find the one who will die apart from thoughts? Can you find a self that will die apart from thoughts?
no.
It doesn't exist. It's not there. It's a story. What is here apart from thoughts? Can you just open, Barbara? Just do the Care Bear stare. Just open. Whatever you're cringing and fighting against and rejecting and avoiding, can you just drop all the defenses and just open and tell me what's here?
I can feel a peacefulness underneath this, cringing and crying and
Yeah, and just the cringing and crying once again. Can you just let that be exactly as it is? Can you just open to the cringing and the crying? You just embrace it. Just stop fighting with it. Stop calling it wrong. Whatever is here, can you just open to it exactly as it is? Can you drop the fight, the fixing, the changing, the seeking? What's here if you just open now to all of it. What's here?
Just peace.
And are you separate from that piece?
No.
Tell the truth. Is there a you in the piece without thoughts? Or is there just peace? Apart from thoughts, is there a you in the piece? Or is peace what you are?
There's no thoughts there. It's just a sort of quiet.
The holy place where thoughts can enter not. It's your true nature. It has never, ever been soiled by a thought.
There's so much resistance to stay there.
No. Could you just open to that resistance now? Just open. Care Bear stare. The resistance is welcome. See? We don't want to be fixing or fighting or trying to change something. Remember, freedom comes through acceptance, not fixing. Can you just stop resisting resistance? Can you just open? If this stillness is what you are, can you be anything else?
No.
Is there any resistance in the stillness, or is it just in thoughts?
It's just thoughts.
And are those thoughts you, or are you that which is aware of the thoughts?
I am that which is aware of them.
And that which is aware of the thoughts, is it ever soiled by a thought?
No. It
See,
can't.
resistance, resistance is an illusion because there's nobody there to resist. They're just thoughts. So when you don't resist resistance, you're not resisting. Then what's resisting? See, the whole illusion collapses. There's nobody there resisting. It's an illusion. All you have to do with resistance is open to it. Don't resist it. And the whole illusion collapses.
And so the idea is to try to stay in that place and
No.
just see what happens.
No. Can you find the one that has to try to stay in the place apart from thoughts?
No, it's the one that left.
So these are just thoughts. These are just thoughts. They're meaningless.
Okay.
So this stillness, can it be ever anything other than itself?
No.
Is there
I
any
mean,
past or future in the stillness?
no.
There's just the eternal now. You don't have to worry about an imaginary future. It's always now. And it's always still. And it's the stillness that's everywhere. You see, so now you've come home to the truth of what you are. But guess what? This is what the cat is with you.
I was just gonna
This is what
ask that.
everyone is with you. See,
Yeah.
the whole self another dream is just thoughts, fiction. See, this is
So
the truth.
the cat is there with me, and when I'm in
No,
thought,
no. This stillness appears as Keith and Barbara and the cat and the vet, but there's never anything here except the stillness. On the movie screen, the light appears as good guys and bad guys and scenery and sky, but there's never anything there except the light. So
right.
this, pastless, storyless, futureless freedom is what everyone is with you now. And any time you can exit the matrix of the mind, the fiction, private world, the hell realm, when you open. When you open, you come home to the freedom that's never absent. And that is the truth of everyone with you. And everything that comes from here will be kind and loving and caring and effective. But you don't have to worry about that. That's automatic from the stillness instead of from the matrix of the mind. So the Course tells us the The highest service you can render to someone else is to know who they are. And you can't know who they are with thoughts. You can only be who they are.
When my nephew is acting out and I feel that clenching and again that fear and I
Yeah, so
freeze.
all you do
How do
is
I
you.
open?
So now, gratitude for your nephew and the Care Bear stare. Can I open to what I'm being
Do I
shown?
just look at him and breathe? Is that how I open? Like,
No, no, no. So just open your eyes for a moment. See, my nephew's acting out and I'm cringing and it's triggering all my emotional insecurities and all my blah 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 blah. And then I go, oh, hang on. This is all for my own best interest. All this is perfect. I'm being shown emotions in my mind that are up for healing. Now, can I open? Can I let all things be exactly as they are? Can the fight stop? Can the attempt to fix stop? Can the attempt to find salvation in the next moment stop? Can I open to this moment? See? And freedom is here in the midst of whatever emotions want to be seen. How's that, Barbara?
that's good.
Ah, God bless. Well done. See, freedom is never absent. It's here. But it's never accomplished through seeking, only through acceptance. And that is forgiveness. Thanks so much, Barbara.
Thank you.
Guys, thanks so much for your attention. Hope you got something out of today's podcast episode. We will catch up in the Facebook group during the week. If you're not a member of the Facebook group, come. We'll let anyone in. But you do have to agree to the group rules. So do that at the time of application. We'll do it all again next week. And everyone, enjoy the rest of your Sunday. Accept it. Thanks, guys.